This is a mantra from Vedas, I believe Yajurveda, and we use it as the famous healing mantra in our ashram and many places. Why is it called? It is called Maha Mrityunjaya mantra even, the mantra that helps to overcome death even, including the great death. There is all kinds of death, physical and emotional and mental, spiritual death. It helps overcome all. And it starts with ourselves, with oneself. We will see the meaning in a minute. Because it is so ancient from Vedas, there will be different traditions and schools and branches of Vedas with slightly different pronunciation. But you cannot follow more than one tradition at the same time. So here we do our ashram tradition through our guru. Chanting is first. Om Tryambakam yajamahe, Tryambakam yajamahe, Sugandhim pushtivardhanam, Sugandhim pushtivardhanam, Urvarukamiva bandhanan, Urvarukamiva bandhanan, Mrityor mukshiyamamritat, Mrityor mukshiyamamritat. I'll show again. Om Tryambakam yajamahe, Om Tryambakam yajamahe, Sugandhim pushtivardhanam, Sugandhim pushtivardhanam, Urvarukamiva bandhanan, Urvarukamiva bandhanan, Mrityor mukshiyamamritat, Mrityor mukshiyamamritat. And we have a strong habit of adding Swaha, Swaha. Why? Because we chanted during our daily morning and evening fire ceremony. Swaha accompanies the sound of the offering into the flame, into the fire. And when you don't have a physical fire in front of you, it is a mental offering and surrender, meeting with that light, dissolving everything, surrendering all that is not needed. So Swaha is a powerful sound. We can add it, it is a habit here. Om, one more time together. Om Tryambakam yajamahe, Sugandhim pushtivardhanam, Urvarukamiva bandhanan, Mrityor mukshiyamamritat, Swaha. It is supposed to be a mantra, a verse with 8 syllables in each line. You can count. Only if you include the Om in the first one are there actually 8 syllables. Om Tryambakam yajamahe, 8. But then you have the situation that it is very difficult to pronounce as is written, as the actual sounds are Tryambakam. Too many consonants. So the Y sound comes from an E. So Tryambakam, some people pronounce Tryambakam. Another tradition is tiny A. Tryambakam, it would be over here. And you hear that when we chant. Tiny A is inserted as a help. This is done. Tryambakam. You can see what I'm saying. Tryambakam, Tryambakam. Tryambakam also is correct. We have our way. Tryambakam. So, Tri was there. Ambakam is eyes here. Tryambakam, the one who has 3 eyes. None of us, I think, have 3 eyes, although yoga says all have a 3rd eye, called the Agya Chakra, the command center for the entire individual being, related variously to, our Guru relates it to pituitary gland inside. Tryambakam, what is that 3rd eye? Shiva is the form of God, you may say, who has 3 eyes. We have 2 eyes. We see duality. The 3rd eye would represent the vision of oneness, including all dualities and transcending all. It is called the cosmic fire. And in the mythological stories, that eye has power to reduce to ashes anything and anybody in front of it. So many stories are there. This is the mystical meaning we're taking today. Tryambakam, the vision of oneness, harmony and unity, enlightened vision. Naturally, when you say God, must have the vision of oneness, the 3rd eye. Yajamahe, we worship that. Worship has physical, mental and spiritual meaning also. Ritual worship, where you need a lot of physical rituals, or else it's not called that. Fire, worship through the fire, we should say. Yajna is pronounced yagya, comes from that, we do here. And worshipping by prayer, here is prayer, mantra. Worshipping by silent surrender, of course, becoming one with that. We worship the 3-eyed one. It sounds a little strange unless you feel the mystical meaning. We have that oneness inside. It gets covered by all the dualities and multiplicities, but the oneness is there. Sugandhim pushti vardhanam. Sugandhim, it goes along with that Tryambakam. There is fragrance in that. Fragrance represents worship through devotion, fragrant flowers, fragrant incense, etc. It will be happiness. Fragrance expresses love and happiness. That's how we worship, and that's how we visualize and imagine and feel the one whom we worship, full of that. Pushti vardhanam. Pushti is physical, mental and spiritual nourishment. Pushti is nourishment. Vardhanam, the one who ever increases our physical, mental and spiritual nourishment. It doesn't mean quantity only. What about quality? We know physical nourishment needs quality. To eat much of the wrong thing will have opposite of the desired effect. So pushti. What about our food also should nourish us emotionally, our feelings. It should give us intelligence and happiness, ultimately transcendence. That would be physical food already. Then mental food, by taking in the wisdom teachings we need to increase our understanding and wisdom. That is also pushti vardhanam, mental. Spiritual nourishment will be all-encompassing. Physical, mental, spiritual. The I am itself is involved. The I am is our true spirit, our innermost self. You know, we call it the I am, Atman. So the nourishment must be for the physical, mental and spiritual being we are. Urvarukam. Urvarukam is the name of a fruit. And I think it must be a Vedic fruit, because people don't seem to remember just how did it look, what kind of fruit. So I follow our Guru. It is something between a melon and a cucumber maybe. And the characteristic is when it is released from the stalk where it grew, which was its attachment, you cannot even see the scar where it was attached. So that's the symbolism of that fruit. Iva means like, so you have a simile, like that urvaruka fruit. Bandhanan is, there's a sandhi, we call it, it was really bandhanat, from its bondage or attachment. As that fruit is released easily without any scar even, that is the idea, smoothly, naturally. Like that, mukshiya is a verb coming now. It means may I be released. And you could say we, because when everybody prays together, the I becomes we right away. May we be released from our bondage, bandhanat, which is mrityu, death. Mrityor is mrityo, from death. So the simile goes a certain way, and then you go beyond a simile and try to catch what is meant, pointing beyond the physical simile. So our bondage is death. And it is as natural as the bandhana of the fruit, that urvaruka. There comes a time for release. And mrityu includes physical death, more important, psychological death. We can be physically alive and feeling worse than dead. That would be that kind of death we have to pray, come out from it. Spiritual death doesn't really exist, but yes, you can call it spiritual death when people completely lose touch and contact with their own soul, their own spirit. Don't even believe there is such a thing. What would you call that? Spiritual death, right? So may I be released from death. Unnecessary or premature physical death is definitely meant, so we use it for healing. Many times death can be avoided with proper medication, proper medicine, with meditation even. With, premature death is not needed, but it'll be according to karma. Psychological death we have more control over. We need our prayers, our study, our service in life. We need all that to overcome being like dead or worse than dead. And we need this high mantra to overcome even our spiritual condition of death. And the last tiny phrase, it's two words, ma amritat, addresses that. Ma means not, it's a strong negation. Amrita is immortality. Ma amritat. May we never be, I or we, mukshiya ma amritat, never be separated from our real nature, which is immortality, that refers to the soul. So the ultimate healing is to feel that your eternal, immortal spirit living in a mortal body. The mortal body will last as long as the karma is. There are stories to overcome the predestined time of death, but then eventually the physical body, just like the entire universe, the physical universe, eventually will dissolve. There's no, everything is cycles. So physical immortality is nice wishing and thinking, but at least when the entire universe goes into pralaya, that will be the end of it and all bodies contained in it. So may I never be separated from my real nature, which already is immortal and eternal. Ma amritat. As I said, yajamahe means we worship, mukshiya means may I be released, but you have this often, they mean the same thing. We, I, everybody. One more time I will try. Om Tryambakam yajamahe. Om, we worship that form of God, the three-eyed one, of great fragrance and forever increasing our nourishment, physical, mental, spiritual. As the urvaruka fruit is released from its bondage or stalk where it was attached, may we be released, that is understood, mukshiya goes with both, may we be released from our bondage, which is death. Never be separated from our immortal nature. Death means here identity with that which has to die. Soul cannot die, life cannot die. It's a contradiction in itself. Life is life, it is eternal. Bodies will not last eternally. So mrityor mukshiya logically will mean may I or may we be released from identity with that which is mortal and mrityu. Doesn't mean you have to jump out of your body right now to go to a place which is immortality. It means through meditation, daily, constant. Guru used to write in the old writings of his constant meditation, whatever that means. It will take a regular practice of detachment of our mind inside. Less and less identification with thinking, which is about matter and things and people, past, present, future. All bondages. May we be released from this mental death, the Mahamrityu. And may we never again feel separated from our true nature. It needs to be meditated upon. Meditation is suggestion till you feel it. Mantras are suggestion, suggestion, suggestion. By our conscious mind, even to our subconscious mind, it will eventually come along with us. Mantras we practice consciously, but everything we think and do is a suggestion also to our own subconscious. And by repetition, which is called practice, we must arrive eventually. But we are already there, so you can think in many different ways about it. We're already there. Amrita is already there. Mrityor mukshiya, anytime I identify with the body and all that comes along with that, attachment. Not going there right now. Tryambakam yajamahe. Therefore we worship that Shiva who has the third eye open. It is the eye of oneness, transcendence, liberation, liberating all. Let us chant it again. Om Tryambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva bandhanan mrityor mukshiya mamritat swaha. Let us see all the lines. Om Tryambakam yajamahe, we already said. Sugandhim pushti vardhanam, 8 syllables. Urvarukamiva bandhanad. You see there's a little extra syllable, so it's 9. Maybe to make up for the first line, which has less than 8, unless you count the Om. Mrityor mukshiya mamritat, again 8. What is Om? It comes in the beginning of any important mantra or scripture, the beginning and the end. Om is the cosmic sound. It includes all and transcends all. That would be another time. We can go more into it, but it is honoring everything that follows. So how do we wish support and healing to anybody? As we say, you wish for them the same that you wish for yourself. We, or I, as I want liberation from death, I want the same for all. Anybody that may not be mindful enough or able enough to pray this for themselves, we do for them. May they feel as we want to feel. Release from all bondage. In a way, it says, "Oh Lord, be gracious, take us out from all trouble," just like that fruit, without any scar even, without any, how do we say, damage, collateral damage, post-traumatic stress disorder. Just easily, be gentle, O Lord. That's what it does say. Urvarukamiva, why would it bring a simile like that? And here I firmly can believe what our Guru says. He knows so many things. It is a fruit which, when it is released from the stalk, which was its bondage, does not even show there ever was bondage. So that's how we want you to help us, O Lord. Take us out. And may we never forget Ma Mukshiya Amritat, our true nature, already immortal and eternal. This is a little bit of the mystical meaning. There will be many interpretations and contexts, including mythological and scientific. You can look at it that way. I like simplicity. I like to be pulled out from all painful attachments and bondage, and to be eternally blissful. Amrita also means that eternal bliss, because it is immortality. I think all beings want that. So first, of course, we need physical freedom, then freedom from our own mental concepts and habits, then spiritual freedom, which will include all beings. We will be incapable of seeing otherness, absolute enlightenment. So many levels of release from bondage. But when we're so preoccupied, as these times are very hard to live in for many people, so preoccupied with the physical pain and the emotional pain, that needs to be taken care of by prayer and by the right attitude and by practicing love wherever we are. And prayers help, mantras help. Rather this than some other. I don't want to go how many alternatives for our thinking mind we have. Our mind can think itself up, it can think itself down. This is for the upliftment of all via our own experience. We have to feel it, then we wish that for all. Even before we feel it completely, we include all in the prayer. The same as I wish for myself, I wish for all. Ultimately, we all are pure spirit, never the body. One more chanting, that'll be it. Om Tryambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva bandhanan mrityor mukshiyamamritat swaha. Om Shanti.